guys, welcome back to my channel. I was not planning on filming today. It's kind of gotten away from me because if you know anything about the weather in the US, if you don't live here, it is crazy right now. So kind of no matter where you are, it seems like everybody kind of got a winter storm out of basically nowhere. And I'm in the South, so it's really out of nowhere here. We're not really equipped for winter weather. And so, yeah, it's just been really hard to get things done. We have snow on the ground here, and then we're supposed to get more. So it's just been a lot of like, let's just curl up by the fire. We're not going out and doing much. The kids are playing in the snow, but like not going anywhere. You're just sitting at home. And I really like to just relax in that type of weather. So I haven't been able to film, but I wanted to get this review out. So let's talk about The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. I'll put it there. And I have really mixed feelings about this book because I have this feeling with all of Michael Crichton's books, and he's like the modern Jules Verne for me. Isn't that like I want to love his books so much because I think the premise is so interesting and so good. And then the actual execution always falls a little bit short. Sometimes not very, like sometimes it's really good. Recommend. But sometimes it's not. I'll put one there. Because sometimes you have the execution being just a little bit off, could have been a little better, and sometimes it's way off. And the Andromeda Strain has one of the best premises, I think, for me, of any of his books. I was so intrigued. I thought this is going to be perfect. It's so, like, I think it's one of those books that just makes sense to me. Like, I don't know if they're going to bring back dinosaurs. It's not something I think about. But the idea that something like the Andromeda Strain, something like that could happen where we have something we've never encountered on Earth that could be this, organism that's, able to infect us or kill us, something that we don't know how to deal with. And I think that like the idea of that coming from space and, somehow being brought back makes sense. Like, I know nothing about this. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that could happen. I'm sure. And I will say for these books, he's going to tell you a lot of facts. He is like that, like with Jules Verne. Like, it's fact heavy. It's character light, very light. You could be mistaken, like, for believing that this book has no characters because the books, like, do not go into any kind of detail. These are basically just scientist men. It's all men, which doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, it's all men. There's a wife character, I believe, in the beginning who gets mentioned, but everybody else, it's all men, even the survivors of the town that gets infected with this, Andromeda Strain, all of them men. Which, like I said, doesn't bother me, but just putting it out there. So, let's start. The whole thing is about this. I want to say they sent it up. So it's like a satellite that they sent up and it comes back down. What goes up must come down. I know at least that much. And it falls in Piedmont, Arizona, which is just a small town. And unfortunately, everybody in that town pretty much dies. So they don't know why. They don't know what happened. But they send their scientists, and all of this things, happening triggers this wildfire program to go into effect. Like, they did plan for this somewhat. We'll get into that later. But all the team gets gathered up. They got to go to Piedmont, Arizona and take care of it and see what actually happened. How bad is this? And the protocol is once we get in there, take care of it, we're going to just bomb the heck out of this town. Like, that town don't exist anymore. That town is gone. Piedmont, Arizona, wait, what? Nope, not anymore. All gone. So, interesting. I'm not sure. I do think like a lot of the stuff that they set up would probably be what would happen. It just makes sense. Like, if you don't want anything else to escape, you're just going to burn it with fire, I guess. But they get the group of men together, and these men are, like I said, all scientist men. This is not, like, there's a surgeon, there's, of course, I want to say it's like a biologist and, different, like, they're all different specialties, but they don't have any character. Like, they don't have anything that you really know about them. I will get into the exceptions because the little tiny bit that we know, it's like grasping at straws for, like, who are these people? What is their motivation? But it's Dr. Jeremy Stone, Dr. Charles Burton, Dr. Peter Levitt, and Dr. Markall. I think I'm saying it right. So two of the guys go to the town. They're like, everybody's dead. That's pretty bad. Like, we got to find the capsule, the like satellite capsule or whatever it was that they had sent up. We got to find it, get the whatever samples back, and figure out what we can do. So they find out that like not everybody died immediately. Some people died instantly, and then some people like committed suicide in this kind of like deranged, like over the top, paranoia that they were having. Like there were suicide notes that they find. So they have enough time to explore the town. This is a high point in the book for me because I really like the whole exploring the town, getting the samples. Like there's, they cut open one of the bodies, all the blood has like solidified. And so it's just very, very interesting stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. That's like crazy that would happen. Like what could cause that? You will have more questions than answers with this one, let me just tell you. So they do that. They find two survivors. One of them is a baby, and then the other one is a very old guy, very old man, who's probably like got the most characterization in this book. That his name is Peter Jackson, which this is Peter Jackson before Peter Jackson was a thing apparently. So, and then the baby is Jamie Ritter. I had to write all this down because that's how like little these names stick out to me. So they take the two survivors back, and they are trying to figure out what to do. So everybody goes to the underground bunker. This is all part of the Project Wildfire. They're going to take them down there. They are going to study this. They activate the like alert or whatever it is that goes out that they need to bomb the town because they're like, we can't let this get out. We don't know how it works. We don't want anyone else to figure out, what's going on over there, like news crews or anything. People could just be dying en masse. So they go, the alert gets sent to the president. You got to sign off on this. And the president's like, I'll think about it. And I will say this is something that like totally makes sense in the book. All the times that things go wrong. And I think that was actually like hilarious, like not hilarious, but well, kind of hilarious because it's so realistic to me that even if you had all these procedures in place, there's always a way to mess it up. There's always going to be a way for you to like have somebody decide somewhere along the line not to follow the procedure correctly or to ignore it or to do something else or, want to take their time. And even with all the different machines that they rely on and stuff, there's mistakes that get made and things that get broken and things that they never even stop to consider. And that's where I was like, that's really good. We should have had more of that because the actual like mess ups and things that really halt the investigation and mess them up along the way, it's all like human error or like a machine that doesn't work that they never thought about and stuff. So I love that. I thought it was great. I was super like, yeah, that makes perfect sense that would happen. The president's like, I'm going to hold off on bombing that town. I mean, who knows? Could have been an election year. Maybe he's just like, I don't want that on my plate right now. So he doesn't bomb the town. And so then, of course, there's other stuff that happens. So they're all down in the bunker. They're trying to figure out why the old man lived. And they find out he was drinking something that I had to look up. Like, it's basically like cooking fuel. I could not. I was like, this is beyond me. But I will say, like I said earlier, he has the most characterization because like the old man who's like got stomach ulcers and is treating himself with cooking fuel. It's called Sterno, I believe. And I was just like, I buy it. Like this old guy is living in a small town. He's like, I'm done with doctors. Let me just take care of this myself. Like, why not? So basically, he has like his body is inhospitable, you might say, to the how this parasite or this like Andromeda strain works. I don't know how to describe it. It's like some kind of organism that infects you and then it can thrive off of your body, but not if you have this imbalance of pH. Like it has to be a very like specific chemical makeup, and if it doesn't work that way, like if it can't kill you immediately, then it goes to your brain and slowly like makes you go crazy basically, and that's why all the other people committed suicide. I'm saying this in like a very non-scientific way. I'm not a scientist. This is just the wrap up. So I should have said spoilers for the whole book. So yeah, they find out like, hey, that's really interesting. Like he had stomach ulcers, he's drinking cooking fuel. Like apparently this, Andromeda strain needs a certain environment to be able to get in your body, kill you, etc. The other thing that's going on, like I said, with all of this, the few things that are happening down in this underground location, like this bunker, it's also separate. Now, this is, I want to say this was like written in the end of the 1960s, early 1970s. I'll put the date there. So there's not like the communication. No one's down there with their cell phone. Like, they didn't have that. So they have these printouts that are going constantly from the government to the bunker. Well, you know what? Scientists gonna scientist and not read them because they're busy with their project. And here's where, you know, a woman or another member of the team being a non-scientist would have really helped you, because they would have been like, hey, there's these really important communications coming through. We should stop and read these. But the other guy's like, no, we're not sleeping. We're not eating. We must power through. We're going to figure this thing out. And I'm just like, so I can't rely on just scientists, people. Like, you need other voices, other perspectives. So they're not getting the very important communications, like the president didn't bomb the town. We had an aircraft go over and ended up falling, like going down over the town, and, you know, some crazy stuff happened, like all these things that would be good to know. And so down in the bunker, they're dealing with that, not reading the printouts, etc. And you find out one of the characters, I think it was Peter Levitt, that one of the, I think, he has epilepsy, but he's not telling anybody on the team. So, like, these are the things where human error and people having their own agendas is going to really mess you up, because this thing gets out, like, it could potentially kill everything on Earth. Like, a 1 to 2% chance of survival. Then that's pretty bad. So, yeah, he doesn't tell anybody, but he's, like, having these seizures where he'll, like, just miss out on moments of time. Like, he'll wake up and be like, oh my gosh, what happened? And so that causes a problem later. But the other guy that you know something about is Mark Hall, because he is the only one on the team that's single. There's this whole fourth man theory that the book gets into that I'm not going to go into because I don't know if it's real or made up for the book. But it's a big deal about how a team needs to have at least one guy on the team, a male, has to be a man, and he needs to be single because he is going to be the one who has the key to detonate the whole bunker. And the idea being that because he is not married, he doesn't have kids, attachments, then he's going to be the one to make a decision that would impact the whole group. Like, he's the best suited for that decision, which logically I don't think makes sense, because if I was down there and I knew that there was a chance that some kind of like some kind of disease or something could get out and infect my whole, like, family, I would be destroying that bunker. Like, there's no way I would detonate it. I mean, obviously I have a lot of people that I care about, but I'll go with the book and just say, hey, they believe he is the only one for this job. So he has the key around his neck. He has got to stop. Once things go south, the bunker will self-destruct, and he's got to go run up to this area. Not up, I don't think, but, you know, get the key to the area where he can deactivate the self-destruct. So that's his job. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I know about the other, like, the team members individually. They're not really individuals. Like I said, they're just scientist men. And, you know, I don't feel like that any of them had really distinct personalities. They're just there for being there. The one, like, old crotchety guy, like I said, the one survivor, got the best personality. Maybe he should have had more of a role in the book and kind of, like, seen some stuff from his perspective a little bit more, and how it was to live in that town for a while with all the people dead. Just saying. But that's what happens. So they're in the bunker, and they find out, hey, we weren't reading any of those printouts, so that's not good. I wonder what they were telling us. And they find out that, like, the president delayed the decision to bomb the town. So town's still there. An aircraft went over, crashed there. Then the pilot was saying that, like, stuff was melting in there, and they're like, oh no, this is mutating into something we couldn't even foresee. Like, we don't even know what happened, and now it's like melting plastic. Like, how is this even possible? And it seems to be able to just grow and adapt, and, like, what kind of horrible thing could this turn into? I don't know. Trying to figure out what their next move is going to be, and they find out that, like, since this needs a certain environment to grow, also, it wouldn't be good to bomb the town, because that was actually going to spread it everywhere. Like, basically, you're just going to create this big explosion that's going to then spread it everywhere that it wants to go, and be able to go, you know, thrive off of, killing everybody there. So they're happy that the president didn't bomb the town. That's something that works in their favor. And they decide to, we're just going to keep studying it. They're getting closer. They've tested things. They think that it like works by making your blood like not like solidify. So they're trying to like give you the stuff that makes your, I can't think of the word, makes your blood like thinner, blood thinners, right? So they're doing stuff like that, I think, to make it so your blood won't solidify. Like I said, I'm not a scientist. So they're trying it out, testing on animals. But then, of course, a seal breaks in the area where, they're working. And so it's like contamination, seal's broken. The one guy in there is freaking out. He doesn't want to die. And it's kind of tense, but not really, because I don't know. I was like, I don't care about these characters. I don't know anything about them. Like, what's the stakes here, really? Like, we lose a few people, and I don't know. Like, I don't want to be callous about it, but I just like, if you want me to really care that all these people might die in here, like, make me care about them. So they figure out as they're watching this, they're like, wait a minute. There's a test animal in there with him that's not dying. He's not dying. Like, what's going on? So it has changed again, and it's not killing people now. Like, it's somehow neutralized to not be lethal. I don't know how that works. Don't ask me. But it's what happens. And so, unfortunately for them, that doesn't matter, because once they had the contamination, like, go off, this means that the bunker is trying to self-destruct. And they need to stop it. So the big drama at the end is Mark Hall is going to make it through. And he's like being shot with syringes that are supposed to inject him and like put him to sleep and kill him. Because that's like, they were so afraid that animals would escape if there was a contamination, like the test animals, that they're like, we got to have these syringe guns shooting you. Which was really dramatic and like I appreciate, but it was definitely like that ticking time bomb. Like, oh, is he going to make it? Is he going to make it? And spoiler, he makes it. Like, he gets shot multiple times and he's about to like die basically, but he makes it to the end, puts his key in, and then they give him the antidote for whatever they were trying to kill him with. So yeah, he saved everybody. The Andromeda Strain mutated to, or changed to then be where it doesn't affect humans in the way that it was, so humans can live, and it's basically just on the planet now, and we gotta wait and see. And that's the end of the book. So yeah, I didn't love it, didn't hate it. If I was to like line this up, I'd say it falls below Jurassic Park for sure, probably below Sphere, and above Congo. I have a lot of problems with Congo. But yeah, I think so. I think it's Congo. But yeah, so I don't know. I wanted to love it because I just thought it was such a great idea. Like, what happens if something comes back on a spaceship, or like, how do they decontaminate that, or like, can stuff even survive in space, and how would that work? I think Michael Crichton had a lot of interesting ideas and was like very ahead of his time. And I think he's very knowledgeable about people and how easy it is to mess something up, especially when you're relying on people and, government and red tape, and you've got military people involved who are going to think differently than the scientists. So I do appreciate that, but I would have loved to have more characters. I think they could have made one of the survivors a female, because I guarantee you that would have given you a different perspective down in that bunker. But I'm just saying, I would, like, if you like that kind of thing, read it. It's very informative. I liked it. It's fun. But it's definitely information heavy, and the characterization is very weak. So I'm going to give it 3. I'll just put it somewhere. Probably 3 out of 5 stars for me. I don't know that I would read it again, but I'm glad I read it. And I like Michael Crichton books, so it was obviously one I wanted to get to. I am currently trying to finish up a couple of books. I have a nonfiction that I'm working on about a man who has multiple personalities, or was diagnosed with multiple personalities, that I'm hoping to get a review out on soon, so I will hopefully have another video coming. But we are projected to have very cold temperatures and more snow in the next couple of days, so I'm not sure when I'll be filming again. I do appreciate you guys so much for watching. Definitely let me know what you're reading in the comments, and how your month has started for reading, and how everything's going for you in January. And if you're having this crazy weather, let me know how it is where you are. Talk to you later.